What's up, Reg Techies? Time for another Reg Tech demo for you. Today I've got Daniel Jakaitis, founder of Chatkick, chatkick.com on the line, creating software for staffing agencies and recruiters out there. So, hey, Daniel, how's it going?
Great. Great to be here. Thanks, Chris.
Excellent. So give us some quick history of the company. How'd you start and what's your background in this space?
Awesome. Yeah. So Chatkick has been around a little over a year and a half. We started in August of 2021. I actually came from the technology world prior to this. I was the head of engineering for a handful of companies and had really been on kind of the buy side of the agency world. So working a lot with different agencies across the New York tech scene and having a lot of colleagues that were in the space as well, just as a result of being a software engineer, getting placed by them. And we started actually originally with one side of our platform, which is known today as Interview Insights, which is a recording and transcription platform that was built for interview analysis. So this was a project of mine that I had started, and we had started to sell and move into the corporate talent space for the early part of the company's kind of days. And as we got going with that, we started to see more and more the power of some of these tools in the hands of the agency and solo recruiter segment. So really in that contract and contingency space, how effective some of our tooling could be for them. And so we started shadowing and discussing with some of our current clients about the use of our tools, and basically started to build from there. So like I said, we've been going about a year and a half now. We've got a lot of different parts of our platform that I'm excited to share with you, but that's really what got us here today.
Yeah, very cool. I'm on your site now. It says source, nurture, and play. So just give us a brief description of what the feature you have there, and then we'll go into the demo.
Yeah. So for us, one of the big things that we did see in the space, and this is really speaking generally about HR tech and recruiting tech, in that there are a lot of point solutions out there that generally solve like one very specific or targeted problem. And I know when you talk to a VC or if you talk to anybody who's a entrepreneur, it's often solve one problem very well. However, what we typically saw was that this was actually becoming quite a headache for the buyers of these platforms, where they're having to integrate several solutions across the board, oftentimes in a very uncomfortable or challenging way. And so for us, what we really wanted to be is the tool that brought you all the way from the point of sourcing to the point of carrying that relationship forward, that nurture step, and then placing that candidate. So that candidate pipeline and interview step. So on the sourcing side, we have a full sourcing suite of tools that are going to allow you to source using our browser extension on platforms like LinkedIn, and downstream our candidate relationship management software that will allow you to nurture or provide drip sequencing tools to prospective candidates as well as clients for the agency customers of ours. And then finally, downstream, that Interview Insights product I mentioned is the screening and evaluation tool that's going to allow you to actually make that placement of the candidate in your pipeline.
Gotcha. Who would you say you compete with, just from a kind of a basic standpoint here?
Yeah, I think the 600-pound gorilla in the room today is probably Bullhorn. However, we've started to see where we're getting used on top of them quite often, where teams are interested in bringing in technology that's a little bit more progressive. And then I would say on the smaller end, we run into Loxo occasionally. But other than that, not a lot of platforms really that really offer the full set of tools that we do.
Cool. All right, well, go ahead and share your screen. Let's jump into a demo here and check it out.
Sounds good. So one of the big things before I step into the two sides of our platform I want to talk about is we do have a concept of workspacing. And this is something that came out of a lot of our research and discussions with the agency side. And so just thinking about how a lot of agencies operate, or RPOs even, in providing value to their clients, is they oftentimes have to provide explicit or exclusive reporting to the client, letting them know how their sourcing efforts are going, or even kind of carrying through that candidate through the different steps of the interview cycle, right? And so typically when you talk to an agency today, if you ask them, do you use an ATS or do you use anything on the candidate or tracking side once you've gotten them into process, oftentimes you'll hear them grumble. They'll say maybe they're using one of the major corporate ATSs like a Greenhouse or a Lever. But the reality is a lot of those tools were built really standalone, intended for the corporate talent world. And so we saw an opportunity here to come up with a way that you could isolate and compartmentalize your clients' candidates in a way that you could still have the full power of an applicant tracking and interview management system. So we've come out with this concept of workspacing. And so we look at our platform as kind of a hub and spoke model, where on the sourcing and CRM side, you've got your talent CRM. And then from there, kind of spokes out the different ATS and interview insights workspaces that you would have and share with your potential clients here. So it's a little bit unique in the way that you enter the platform. But I'm going to start kind of on the front end of this, right on the sourcing side here. So I'm going to go right into our talent CRM. And with our talent CRM, one of the major factors of this is our ability to do email sequencing. So pretty common across the talent kind of CRM space, in that we can source right from our Chrome extension, which I'll show you in a second here, as well as send from the platform. And so this is coming off of your actual inbox. So all the replies are going to come back to you. And this starts right here where you're going to create a campaign. Now, we do have the ability to use some of these fun new GPT-3 tools, these magic writing tools, but I'm just going to start from scratch just to show you a quick example here, and we'll move into the sourcing side. Within this, what you've got is multiple stages within a sequence, okay? And so each stage today corresponds to a specific email. Coming soon, we're actually going to be rolling out SMS and some manual tasks as well within these campaign steps. And this is going to fill in a subject line, a body of the email. You can add attachments, really do anything you'd expect with a typical email editor. And going down here, once you've created that campaign, that's going to be available for you to then go and source with here. Now, we can send outreach in a handful of ways off of our tool. And one of the ways that's used very heavily by a lot of our customers is batch sequencing. And so this is a pretty powerful solution for users to come in and actually drop in entire CSVs. And I'm just going to grab the template here just so I can show you a quick example. We can take CSVs up to 1,000 at a time. And what you can do here is you can create a campaign inline if you want. So you can create one on the fly, or you can grab one that you've already developed and drop them right into sequence. So this is going to set up those different stages here. And if I get all the way to the bottom, one thing I just like to show off here, which is pretty useful, we give you this ability to actually customize all of those steps of this sequence. So a lot of outreach products usually will just allow you to send a template, and that's that. It's going to go off on its way. You're sending these somewhat generic templates every time, and they have some efficacy because you are doing that follow-up step. However, what we provide you here is this ability to come in and add a little bit of personal touch on every single email. So you can always add in a few extra sentences. Could be, you know, somebody or you met them at a happy hour a couple weeks ago, or maybe they went to your alma mater, whatever it might be. In this example, right, we've got 3 emails in here. We've got 5 steps, so 15 emails in total. You can actually personalize all 15 if you wanted to. Obviously, in a big batch, it's going to be a lot of extra work, but sometimes that extra work is worth it because it's going to get those reply rates up. And then you would just click schedule batcher, and that would send out. Now on the sourcing side, when it comes
as
to
I'm watching this, Daniel, I'm reminded that recruiting is marketing, man.
It is, yeah,
it really marketing activity here.
Yeah, and one of the things we saw very early too is that when we were talking about a lot of the tools that we're slowly starting to develop here with talent acquisition and agency recruiters, oftentimes agency recruiters, their eyes light up, right? Because they're really on the sales side. The bottom line of their business is made up of how efficient they can be and how fast they can work. Whereas talent acquisition is much more of a long tail. And so some of these kind of tools aren't necessarily super powerful in the hands of a talent acquisition specialist, whereas the agency side, where we've started to move towards, has seen massive ROI in a product like ours. I'm just going to click into my profile here, and you see this little guy, this Chrome extension that pops up on the bottom left. You notice, I don't know if you noticed on the previous screen, he was green, but this screen, he actually turns red. This is a great feature for teams that are working together. As you're sourcing across LinkedIn, and we work on all flavors here, recruiter, sales nav, Recruiter Lite, as well as the public profiles, you'll be able to see very quickly if there's outreach in progress to a specific candidate. Okay.
Oh,
So once it turns red, you know, you can kind of move to the next person here. And then you see for Will here, it's come up green again. Okay. And Will's actually not even a prospect within our CRM. We can come in and we can create him right on the fly. You notice it creates the prospect. I even toggled on the ability to find contact information. We find a bunch of contact information, and I know Will personally. So I know that this is actually his email address here. So I can go in through and I can compose a new campaign, or I can grab one of my existing ones and I can drop this right in to start building that sequence out to Will. I'm going to pause
nice.
here. Yeah, I'm going to pause here for a second because I want to talk through a couple of things that have happened already when I've done these clicks. So created him as a prospect within the CRM. We've already saved him in the database. And then in conjunction with that, found that contact information for you. And then this last step where I actually brought the email over from that is we're actually doing a bounce check. We do this completely free of charge. We basically validate any email you put into our system to make sure it's going to get there. The reason we do this is purely for customer experience. It actually costs us a little bit of money. It's a fraction of a penny every time, but we found that this radically improves delivery rates for all of our customers and just makes them a lot happier in the long run here.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. I've never seen that in any kind of CRM like that before.
Yeah, it's pretty common. You'll see this as separate tooling. You can find products that just do this under the hood. Oftentimes you'll have to pay extra for it. And so we found that one of the big issues we've seen with a lot of the data sources and CRMs out there, you've got a 1 out of 5 chance of actually bouncing an email.
Yeah.
And you're talking 10, 20% of the time you're going to bounce an email that you find, and it's just not good stats, right? So we'll always verify that for you. And so within this campaign step screen, I grabbed my campaign here, and this is just a mock campaign for a role. We've scraped Will's first name. So this is going to be a variable that gets injected into the sequence. And then of course, we've got the email here. I'll click continue. And you'll notice that this actually injects his first name here as we'd expect. And we've got this email in sequence. And so again, going back to my comment with our batch processing, we give you a lot of ability to customize in every kind of step of the way. This is not about templating and just sending. You can add follow-ups within this extension, as many as you want, set the scheduling, change up the bodies of these emails, et cetera. And then once you're ready, you click finish and send, and that's going to go off on its way. Right. And I'll just send that out. Will's gonna get that now. He's probably going to send me a text later and say, what's going on here? So if I go back to my dashboard, you'll notice that this guy is red now, right? So that's that warning that I mentioned before.
That's cool. I like that. Very visual.
Within here, you can go over to the prospect profile. So this is Will's profile within the platform. You'll notice that this is marked as in progress. And as this progresses, if he replies, it'll show that this was replied to. It'll give me the actual information of the message that was replied to. So you can look at it within your actual email and manage it manually from there, right? So once you've got that connection made and somebody's responding to your actual recruiting outreach, you can go in and handle that. We've got a variety of integrations within the CRM. We work on top of about 35 different ATSs and CRMs in total. You can see a handful of them listed here. And so our integrations are pretty deep in the sense that they'll pull and push prospect or candidate data across both sides, as well as let you use our Chrome extension within there. So it's pretty common. You see us see customers of ours using our Chrome extension within their Bullhorn instance and doing their actual outreach from Bullhorn, and then using us as their sourcing tool, just because we're very proficient at it. So.
Gotcha.
Just to be mindful of time, I'll just mention we do have obviously a lot of reporting and analytics. We're going to provide you information on response rates. We're going to calculate open rates as well as things like interested rates. So we're going to see if the response that you get is actually positive, negative, neutral. And evaluate your sourcing and outreach from there. Okay.
You mentioned that magic right before. So you've already integrated some form of GPT into the product already?
Yeah, I'm hesitant. I could try to do a demo on the fly here. I know they've had some issues with
Just server demand, yeah.
yeah, server demand, but let's try to do it on the fly just for fun here.
Okay.
Okay, so if I come in, I use email magic. Let's say let's do this fun, and we'll do New York City. All right, and so we're looking for a software engineer here, and see if we can find. I got a JD up on my other screen. I'll just grab the role description. Okay. Give that a second to cook. This is usually the time of day that their servers are down. So that's why I'm always hesitant to do it live. We've got actually two features here. So this is the writing feature. It's going to help generate an email, kick off that campaign for you. So you don't have to think too hard about like getting started. And so we've got something here. I'm going to click create campaign. I actually want to show you. I'll just come in and replace this syntax because we know our first name parameter. And then at the end here, I'll insert my signature. So the other part of this feature is not just the writing feature, which generated this email, which is pretty awesome. It's this remix feature. So this is very powerful for people who have existing campaigns. You can come in and remix, create A/B tests of them. And I'll do a different tone here since we grabbed fun before. Oh, it's not going to let me make
something. So that remix is like the regenerate from ChatGPT function.
Yeah, very similar. So I'm going to actually cut
changes the wording. Yeah.
Yeah, cut out some of the words here because we do have a limit on this. Let's see if it's going to let me do this here. There we go.
You might be the first recruiting. Yeah, you might be the first recruiting software to actually embed this. And I'm sure it's many companies are already looking at this in terms of just how they can use it.
So this one looks like our server is down on this one. Okay. But so the writing feature was the kind of first step I showed you. This remix feature is going to calculate basically like a new iteration of that. And then we've got a third version of this feature coming out that I'll kind of talk high level, but within the Chrome extension, you're going to be able to send campaigns and generate a sequence the same way that writing feature does, but it'll be in the context of the profile page that you're on.
Very cool. Do you want to give me a quick success story from one of your clients and maybe wrap it up with the pricing and stuff?
Sure. So I mean, we have about 100 different organizations on our platform, ranging from Fortune 500s all the way down to solo recruiters. I know there's one client of ours. I don't know if it's kosher for me to say the name here of the client, but they do have an individual on their team, a young woman who was a recent college graduate who had never worked in the recruiting industry before, using our platform basically day in, day out, sending, I think, roughly between 1,000 and 2,000 outreach touches a month. And within her first 2 years, she had booked over $1 million in business for her agency using our outreach product. Yeah. So we've got some really impressive success stories. I also think too, there's growth stories on the agency side that are really impressive, where we've seen operators go from 2-person shops up to about 25 because they've been able to scale their operations using a sourcing and talent CRM like ours. So there's actually a handful of those too, where we've seen that grow over the last couple of years here. I do want to just show you one last thing. So I mentioned the workspace thing here. So when you've got your talent CRM, this is the spoke side, this is the applicant tracking side. You set up an ATS workspace specific to your client. And within here, we've actually got a lot of functionality. So you can do schedule coordination on behalf of your clients, setting up entire interviews and sending booking links for screenings. In addition to that, you can do actual pipeline tracking within here. So we have a full, like I said, robust ATS system that's going to allow you to come in, manage candidates, handle resumes, et cetera. And then kind of the cherry on top is our ability to record and transcribe full interviews, both on video and phone. So you can then share these out with your clients and have that interactive kind of feedback loop that is very unique to us. I'm not sure that there's any platform in the agency space that offers any of this type of tooling today. So
No, there is interview software out there that does some of this stuff, this recording and transcription, but not, specifically within a staffing agency based software like this.
yeah, yeah, and this is one of those things that for us has been very exciting to offer up, because we've done it in a way that's very purpose built for those agency recruiters, where they can work through the different workspaces of their clients and move between them without any issues here. So this would be just jumping in. There's a whole separate workspace that's fresh and brand new. And then even if I just go back, you can see that there's separate data in here for this this workspace. So, cool. Yeah, and that's the whole platform in general. Like I said, there's kind of two sides to the platform: our CRM, as well as our ATS and Interview Insights products here. And these are obviously connected across our APIs, so you can send and kind of push data back and forth as you need here for your clients.
No, I like it. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, you have some really unique functionality there. It looks really good in terms of the interface, design wise, and there's an easy to use. So I like it. I like what I see so far. So I appreciate it.
Cool. Well, appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, definitely. Pricing, want to mention that, and then
Sure. Yeah, so our pricing, very transparent. We start at $99 per user per month. That gives you access to both sides of the platform. Within that, you're allocated on a per user basis 300 contact credits. So within that contact finding part of our sourcing tool, you get a big bucket of credits per user. So that comes rolled in. And then, of course, we start discounting as you add up to the 5, 10, 20 seat range. We start discounting that accordingly.
Awesome. Well, viewers, you can check it out at chatkick.com. And Daniel, thanks for stopping by Rectech today. Great to have you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.